Mean 1%, 2% skim. 1% of skim is the best because the fat doesn't have a relationship right there in recovery, just the carbs and the protein. So we want to keep the fat down and keep the calories down a little bit too. Unless, of course, it's appropriate for that individual to have it. But since I'm talking to women that are more weight conscious, then obviously I would go 1% or skim.
Not to get sidetracked, but protein drink after workout, I usually buy the whey powder.
Right.
What is the difference? Because I heard the isolated whey powder is better than the concentrated. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
between the two?
Right. So what happens with protein that's animal-based, it has all those amino acids present. It's a complete protein. When we're making a shake out of it or we're processing it in a plant, we're breaking down that protein. And if we break it down and don't keep the protein isolated and it gets broken apart, we lose some of those amino acids. It's not a complete protein anymore. So when you're looking at the label, you want to be sure it says whey protein isolate, where they've isolated each protein.
It means what then?
It doesn't mean anything until you can see if it's isolated or not. It just means it's a whey protein concentrate from the stand.
It says concentrated isolated.
Okay, so then it's just whey protein itself that's the isolate molecules. And it's only that. It's concentrated. Yeah, it's just fancy terminology. Because sometimes you could do a blend, right? You could have a whey protein blend with soy or anything.
Okay.
And it could be sort of, making a filler essentially into that whey protein. So you want to be sure it says isolate. The concentrate just means they're only using whey protein as the protein source.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I think you almost need a degree these days to read food labels.
Or you get someone like yourself to explain it to us.
Yeah. I mean, I was laughing at a label I was looking at the other day. It had, we were talking about sugar, and this patient and I were talking about sugar, and we were looking at this label. I don't remember if it was a bar, a granola bar, or something. Oh, I think it was actually the Jenny Craig bar. But anyway, it had brown rice. She goes, I don't think there's any added sugar. And it had brown rice syrup, then it had evaporated cane juice, and then it had another section of brown rice. It had 3 sections of the label that had sugar, but they used all these fancy words to describe the sugar. Yeah. So, it throws you off a bit.
Speaking of which, will you describe what the sugar alcohol is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when people are training, they want to be conscious about calories, want to be conscious sometimes about those added sugars. So you might get tricked with some of these protein bars, like for example, a Luna bar, some of the other bars that are out there have sugar alcohols, which they're used to drive up the sweetness, but not add up more calories to the food. And sugar alcohols have a laxative effect. So there's calories in those sugar alcohols, just like a regular carbohydrate molecule, which has 4 calories. There's 3.4 calories in 1 gram of sugar molecule, of the sugar alcohols, I should say, and you don't process those calories. You can't digest them, so they pass right through your GI tract, and you can get diarrhea, gas, bloating, just real upset to the GI system. So sometimes I get cases of patients that'll call me up and say, I was doing fine, and now I've got this GI upset, and I'm not sure what's happening, and they might be eating. I actually had a boot camp instructor call me. We're good buddies, and he says, I'm having problems. He says, in the afternoon, a lot of gas and bloating, and I never had this before. And this is a guy who eats the same thing every single day, and the only thing he did was added a Luna bar in the afternoon before his boot camp class. So I said, it's that Luna bar, take it out. Sure enough, we had no problems. Sugar-free gum has it, so if you're really, really sensitive and you have somebody who's chewing gum and exercising, they might notice some GI upset from that as well. But look out for the products that might be bars or things you might be grabbing for on the run that seem healthy. They might have that.
Alcohol, mix it all together, or
should.
That's one of those things like saturated fat. You just really don't want it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's no need or purpose for the sugar alcohol. Yeah, it'll say sugar alcohols, and then the different types would be maltitol, sorbitol, xylitol. It's all these erythritol. It's all these OL terminology at the end of the. Somewhere again you need the science degree almost, but yeah, it's there. They'll list it out for you. Definitely.
They'll have it just within the box itself. They'll say how much of it.
Yeah, and they'll how many grams on the label. A lot of times under sugar, they might say 4 grams sugar alcohols, 8 grams, 12 grams. The higher it goes, the more likely you're going to have some side effect. More concentrated it is. Yeah. So that's another part on there too. And then calorie level is important here too. I don't want to skip that concept on losing weight while training or watching your weight while training, being conscious, because it's very easy to eat more than what you burn in exercise sometimes, given certain scenarios. Like for example, I've got this wonderful client who's training and trying to lose weight, and she's signed up for a 5K, and she's running with her running group on Saturdays, and I know the running group leader, she's great, and there's people training for 5Ks all the way up to marathon. And so she's doing the lowest end of the range, and she's walk running, and so she eats her adequate breakfast before she goes, so she's fueled because it's a later morning training. Then they have chocolate milk for recovery and bagels and all kinds of fun stuff afterwards, for bananas, which is great for those that are running the 18 miles or the 16 miles. And here she's just doing the 3 miles. So she already had a great breakfast, ran 3 miles, had recovery of some chocolate milk. Then she goes home and has another snack, or goes out. I guess the ladies all go out for brunch. So at that point, I'm kind of laughing, like, okay, we want these calories for some exercise burn here for weight loss. We don't want to be fueling beyond what you've even burned. It's very easy to do that sometimes. So you want to be conscious of this when you're talking about calories in versus calories out, what you're burning in workouts. And if you're using machines, be careful what they're telling you for your calorie burn, ellipticals and treadmills and of the like. So a good rule of thumb, and again, everybody's different and it's hard to just throw numbers out in terms of what kind of calorie level people should be looking towards. It depends a little bit on, you've got teenagers versus folks that, we've gone through puberty. Our metabolisms are on the slowing down side. Everybody's going to be different in that angle, but in how much exercise we do. The average person burns about 10 calories a pound, if that gives you some perspective. And then you build on top of that what you're doing for exercise. And then you can build around, is it a faster metabolism or slower metabolism? You might be 11 calories per pound or 9. Men versus women. Men are going to be at the higher end at 12. Women are going to be 9 or 10. It just depends. And when you come see me, we can actually do the analysis, figure out your calorie needs, height, weight, age, activity level. I do resting metabolic rate tests. I just did one this morning on a woman. She was 1880 was her RM, or how many calories she needed at rest. It can vary. I've seen 900. I've seen 18. I've seen 2,000. Just depends. So you can get a specific reading, or we can use a calculation to figure that out. But just keep in mind it's going to vary some, and also think about how much you're doing for exercise. How much of that burn do you need to replenish based on the training you're doing versus how much are you going to use just towards weight loss or weight maintenance? Some people exercise to eat more. You got to have a fine balance there. That's my ultra runners that I see. A lot of them, I swear, they all say, I love to eat, so I love to run. I swear, it's a back and forth relationship. 50-mile races all the time, 100-mile races all the time. So I wrote down some healthy snacks. I don't know why my Y got scooted over there. Sorry about that. But healthy snacks, just ideas there you'll see most of the time have some kind of protein involvement. They're quick on the run things. I love this better than peanut butter. It's at Trader Joe's. It's half the fat. They defat the peanuts. One time I tried to defat my peanut butter, and I took my jar and I poured the oil off the top, the all natural. Sounded like a great idea at the time, and then I had this rock that I couldn't spoon out anymore.
Things just taste horrid, though. Does it taste okay?
It tastes fantastic.
Really?
Yeah. There's plenty of fat still in the peanut butter. They only take about 50% out, so it's good. It's really good.
You need a Trader Joe's more, though.
Yes, I joined the Facebook support group to get Trader Joe's out here. Yeah. I'm like, if I had the money to invest, I'd build one right now. Love Trader Joe's. So check it out. That's an option. It's half the fat, half the calories. So it's kind of nice. And then some energy boosters to think about. Energy is a big deal. We don't tend to have enough. We're always trying to find more energy. If we're doing a lot of training and exercise, it might zap our energy rather than boost it sometimes. So a couple things you got to check, a little checklist here for you. Think about, if I'm not feeling like I have the energy or I can't keep up with my exercise, what am I doing wrong? Am I getting 64 ounces of fluid as a minimum per day? That's 8 cups of fluid. It doesn't have to be all water, but you want to be adding that up throughout the course of the day. You're getting enough. That's important. Also, I didn't put it down under healing and inflammation, but let me tell you, if you're not hydrated properly, you're not lubricating your joints, you're drying out the cartilage in your knees over time. There's a lot of negative side effects to not staying hydrated with exercise. Vitamin D, also a big deal when it comes to energy. 50% of the population is vitamin D deficient. So of the folks here, anyone been tested and found out?
And this has been the stress factor to my daughter has been found that she's really deficient.
Yeah.
And so it's been a challenge. We've had to, now it's back up 10,000 to get it back up again. I don't know why, but a lot of kids' injuries seem to be, and I don't know why all of a sudden we have vitamin D deficiency.
Yeah.
Maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, I'm super fascinated with vitamin D because certainly as a dietitian, all these years I've been able to say, actually I've been talking about vitamin D now for a good 4 years, but prior to that I used to say as a dietitian, you can get everything you need in your food. You don't need to supplement. It's just an option if you want to take a multivitamin or if you're a little, anemia is one issue that we need iron and things like that. But in terms of a healthy diet, most people don't need to supplement.